Hello mystery seekers and welcome to the Mystery Served. The subject of this video cannot fail to interest you, and probably will be one of those videos that you will not forget so easily. We talk about David and Goliath. Yes, I found some insight on this story. It's not a legend, it is history, which has always fascinated everyone. It is the story of a shepherd boy who defeats a giant and then becomes king of Israel. What they can thereby say more? Let's see. First of all, let's try to contextualize the events. It is a story that occurred 3000 years ago, when the kingdom of Israel was in its infancy and is set in an area called Shephelah, which is now in Israel. Ancient Palestine had a mountain range along the eastern border, where there are all the ancient cities of that region, that are Jerusalem, Bethlehem, Hebron, and so on. Then there is a coastal plain along the Mediterranean Sea where Tel Aviv is now. The mountain range is connected to the coastal plain by an area called Shephelah, formed by a series of valleys and ridges that develop from east to west, and you can follow the Shephelah crossing it to go from the mountains to the coastal plain. The Shephelah is the most beautiful part of Israel, with oak woods, with fields and vineyards. It is had a strategic role in the history of that region. After crossing the coastal plain, enemy armies traveled the Shephelah to reach the mountains and threaten their inhabitants. 3000 years ago, this was the case. The Philistines, who are the greatest enemy of the kingdom of Israel, they live in the coastal plain and come from Crete. They are a seafaring people. They start making their way through one of the Shephelah valleys to the mountains, because what they want to do is occupy the area of the highlands near Bethlehem and divide the kingdom of Israel into two. The kingdom of Israel is led by King Saul, who obviously learned of this plan. He brings his army down from the mountains and confronts the Philistines in the valley of Elah, one of the most beautiful Shephelah valleys. The Israelites are entrenched along the northern ridge, and the Philistines position themselves along the southern ridge. The two armies stand there 2 weeks facing each other without performing military maneuvers. No one attacks the other for not standing in the valley or on the side of the mountains, and so finally to unlock the impasse to Philistines. Philistines send their stronger warrior down to the valley, and he shouts to the Israelites, "Send your most powerful warrior down here. Only the two of us resolve the conflict." This way of doing was a tradition in the ancient wars. We also have some echoes in the history of Italy. Do you remember the Oresi and Curiazi? It was called a duel. It was a way of resolving disputes without the great bloodshed of a great battle. The Philistine, who is sent downstream, their powerful soldiers, is a giant. It is almost 6 feet tall. He is covered from head to toe with a shiny bronze armor. He has a sword, a javelin, and a spear. It is absolutely terrible. It is so terrifying that none of the Israelite soldiers want to fight him. It would be certain that there is no way to beat him. But at a certain moment, a person introduced himself to Saul. He is a young shepherd, and say to him, "I will fight against him." And Saul says, "You can't duel with him. It is ridiculous. You're just a boy." That's a very strong warrior. But the shepherd is adamant. No, you don't understand. I defend my flock against lions and wolves for years. I think I can do it. Saul has no choice. No one else has come forward and says, okay, then turns to the boy and says, but you have to wear this armor. You can't face it as you are. So he tries to give his shepherd his own armor, but the pastor says, no, I can't wear this stuff. The biblical verse says, I can't wear it because I didn't try it, which means I never wore armor before. You must be crazy, Saul answers. Thus the shepherd bends over the ground, collects 5 stones, he puts them in the bag and starts walking down the mountain to face the giant. The giant sees this figure approaching and is shouting, come to me so I can feed the birds of the sky and the beasts of the field with the flesh. Goliath makes this kind of threat to David, who is coming to duel against him. The shepherd gets closer and closer, and the giant sees that he has a stick with him. It's all he has. Instead of a weapon, only a stick, and says, feeling insulted, I am perhaps a dog, why do you come to me with sticks? The shepherd boy takes one of the stones from the bag, puts it in the sling, it wears it, throw it, and it's a giant right in the middle of the eyes, right here in the most vulnerable point. Goliath falls. It is not known whether he died or was unconscious. The shepherd runs, he takes his sword, cut off his head, and Philistine turned and ran away. Now this is the story of David and Goliath, and many see the hand of God. But if this were hand of God, it was not in guiding the stone, and many of the beliefs we have about this story are wrong. David should be doing with truth. This is what is centered in our conscience. We use the story of David and Goliath as a perfect metaphor to indicate an equal struggle with an unlikely victory. Quite right, we consider David as a disadvantage because he is a kid, while Goliath is a big and strong giant. He is also an experienced warrior, while David is just a pastor. We consider him disadvantaged because all he is a stick, a sling, a stone, while Goliath is equipped with modern equipment, a shining armor, a sword, a javelin, and a spear. But let's start with the phrase. Everything that David has is a slingshot, because this is the first mistake we make. In ancient wars there were 3 types of warriors: the knights, that is men on horseback, and we cats. Heavy infantry, we who have the soldier on foot, that is infantrymen armed with sword and shields, and sometimes a light armor, and then there was the one we compare to artillery. That such is very important is the slingers. A sling is one that has a piece of leather with 2 attached cords, puts a bullet, a stone, or a terracotta or metal ball inside the leather bag and makes it swirl. Then lets go of one of the string and throws the bullet toward the target and this way. This is a slingshot, and this is what David has, and it is important to understand that the slingshot is not a toy. It is not a game for children. It is actually an incredible, devastating weapon. When David twirls it this way, it is handling the sling probably at 6 or 7 rounds per second, and this means that when the stone is released, it's going on a lot quickly, probably 35 meters per second. It is substantially faster than a baseball thrown by the best pitchers. Furthermore, the stones of the valley of Ila were not composed of common rocks. They were barium sulfate rocks that have twice the density of normal stones. Make a ballistic calculation. The stopping power of the rock thrown by David's slingshot. It is approximately equal to stopping power of a 45 caliber pistol. This is an incredible, devastating weapon. Precision. We know from historical documents that slingers could hit and mutilate or even kill a target up to 200 meters away. From medieval tapestry we know that the slingers were able to strike birds in flight. They were incredibly accurate. There is also to say that the slingshot traditionally is also been the weapon of the shepherds. When David takes side and is not even 200 meters away from Goliath, it is rather close when David aims and throws the stone at Goliath. He has every intention and certainty of being able to hit him at his most vulnerable point, or between the eyes. If you retrace the history of ancient wars, you will find from time to time that slingers were the deciding factor in the battle against infantry. Goliath is the heavy infantry, and this expectation, when he challenges the Israelites to the duel, is to fight another heavy footman. Saul has the same expectation. David says, I want to fight Goliath, and Saul tries to give him his armor because he's thinking, oh, when you say fight against Goliath, you mean fight of the same type, infantry against infantry. But David has absolutely no expectations. He doesn't want to fight Goliath like this. Why should it? He is a pastor. He spent his whole life using a slingshot to defend his flock against lions and wolves. He is where his strength lies. So here is it is a little shepherd, expert in the use of devastating weapons, against a giant weighed down by 50 kilos of armor and incredible heavy weapons, which is used only in short-range combat. Goliath is an easy target. He has no chance. So why do we continue to find David, the underprivileged shepherd, and why we do continue to consider his victory unlikely? There is another important element. It's not just we that we misunderstood David and his choice of weapons. It is also the way deeply misunderstand Goliath. Goliath is not what it appears to be. There is an innumerable notes on this in the biblical text. Things are quite disconcerting in retrospect, and they do not fit with the image of this powerful warrior. Here is a key phrase crucial of the whole affair when we say, "Come to me, so that I may feed the birds of the sky and the beasts of the field with your flesh." The key phrase is "come to me." That is, move yourself. Why? To begin, the Bible says that Goliath is led to the valley floor by a waiting. The thing is where this is, isn't it? It is powerful warrior who challenges the Israelites to one-on-one fight. Why is he presumably driven by the hand of some boy at the fighting site? Secondly, the history of the Bible shows that Goliath moves slowly. It is another strange thing to say when you are describing the most powerful warrior known to man at the time. And then there is where the thing about how long it takes Goliath to react to David's side. David is coming down the mountain and clearly is not preparing for hand-to-hand combat. There is nothing about him that says, I am going to fight Goliath in this. So he doesn't even have a sword. Why does the Goliath react to all of this? And this is like is obliviously to what's going on. And there is a strange command he makes to the David. I am a dog, you have to come with sticks. Sticks? David has only one stick. And it turns out that there has been a great flurry of the hypothesis within the medical community over the years that there is something fundamentally wrong with Goliath. An attempt to make sense of all these apparent anomalies. Many articles have been written. The first was in 1960 on Indiana Medical Magazine, which has initiated a series of conjectures that begin with an explanation of the height of Goliath. Goliath exceeds all his age peers in height, for the shoulders and for the head, and usually when someone is out of the norm there is an explanation. The most common form of giantism is the thing called acromegaly. It is caused by a benign tumor of the pituitary gland that causes an overproduction of the growth hormone. Throughout history, many of the most famous giants had acromegaly. The tallest person of all time was a boy named Robert Wadlow, which was still growing when he died at the age of 24. He was 2 meters tall, 40 meters, and suffered from acromegaly. Do you remember the wrestler Andre the Giant? He suffered from acromegaly. It is also assumed that Abraham Lincoln suffered from it. For anyone unusually tall, the first explanation we give is that it is affected by acromegaly, and acromegaly has a very distinct set of related side effects, many concerning sight. Pituitary cancer growing often begins to compress the visual nerves of the brain, with the result that people with acromegaly have a double vision or are strongly myopic. When they started speculating about what might have been wrong with Goliath, they said, wait a minute, it really looks like Goliath looks like those who suffer from acromegaly. And that would be the explanation of his strange behavior that day, of why it moves so slowly and why he should be let down to the bottom of unattended. He can make his way alone. Why he is so strangely ignorant that does not understand that David is going to fight him until the last moment, because Goliath can't see it. When he says, come to me so that I will be able to feed the birds of the sky and the beasts of the field with your flesh, the phrase, come to me indicates his vulnerability. Come to me because I cannot see you. And then, I am a dog, you must to me with sticks. He sees 2 sticks when instead David is only one. Thus this lays up there on the ridge. When they say it, they think it is an extraordinarily powerful enemy. What they didn't understand is the source of his apparent strength. It was also the source of his greatest weakness. In all this, there is a very important lesson for all of us. The giants are not as strong and powerful as they seem, and sometimes the shepherd has a slingshot in his pocket.